to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen. Please be seated. Dr. Stricker, would you please establish a quorum tonight?
Yes, I will. Linda Hamilton.
Present.
Michael Nimmer. Here. Brandon Sellers. Here. Rose Robinson.
Here.
Vicki Jones. Present. And Keith's here as well. Ms. President, we have a quorum.
Thank you. Next item is approval of the agenda.
I recommend approval of agenda as presented. There will be a revised, within that agenda, there'll be a revised personnel report, but, I do recommend approval of agenda as presented.
May I ask that the executive session also include a litigation report?
Yes.
Okay, and so with that, we are going to have to,
Approve the amendment.
yes, we need to approve the amendment, but I also would like the executive session to just include a short talk concerning our superintendent status. Just a quick steps forward on that. But can we get a motion for approval of our agenda?
Well, I would like to, maybe we do it now, or maybe we do it in discussion. I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda to table item number 9, which is on the agenda, on the proposed agenda, to our next board meeting. The approval of committees.
Second motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to table item number 9, which is approval of committees for the 2019-2020 school year. Is there, any discussion concerning that? Are there any questions?
What are your reasons for that, Carol?
This is going to go to part of the litigation discussion and good name and character.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposes, nay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank
That
you.
was approval of the agenda, Paul.
No,
No.
Got it?
Removing item.
That's,
Item nine.
okay, well, let's back up and let's get a motion to approve the
That's right,
agenda
that's right.
with the revision of removing item number 9 from tonight's agenda.
And adding,
And then adding the, litigation update.
Superintendent status discussion.
Yes, the litigation update and superintendent, update discussion to our executive session. That was a mouthful.
Motion.
Second.
Any questions about that? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposes, nay. Thank you so much. We have an approved agenda. Next item is approval of minutes and payroll.
That will be presented at the October meeting, speaking of litigation.
Oh, that's true.
Take
I just
hundreds,
noticed that.
hundreds of hours, and so
That is true.
we will get that.
Okay, I just noticed that. Thank you. Recognition?
It's my favorite part of the meeting where we get an opportunity to recognize our outstanding staff and students. And it's a privilege this evening to recognize some more of our support staff. Student achievement, of course, is linked to teachers. Student achievement is linked to administrators. Student achievement is linked to our curriculum director, federal programs director, and so on. But really, student achievement's all the way across the board. Student achievement begins when a child is picked up in the morning and is greeted by a bus driver. Student achievement goes into the lunchroom, that there's friendly lunch staff that the kids look forward to seeing and they eat a healthy lunch. That has something to do with student achievement. Tonight I want to recognize our mechanics, because our mechanics keep our equipment running, keep our buses safe and operational. And this is not a fancy speech, it really is just, I've been in this a long time, I'm just telling you, it all links together, it really does. It takes our whole support staff, along with the teachers, administration, and so on, to make happen what happens in that classroom, and again, the overall picture with student achievement. So this evening, I want to recognize Chris Mosley, and, did TJ make it? Okay, but I still wanna recognize, TJ Wesley and Chris Mosley, for doing what you do. We greatly appreciate it, and I know it's sometimes a thankless job. You know, I even apologize you coming in the room. I mean, I don't get down there as much as I should to the bus garage and tell you I appreciate what you do, but I do, and we do, and the children do. They may not know, but they appreciate that the bus is operational and they can count on them. They're not breaking down usually out in the country or whatever. It does happen. So I'm not gonna give an absolute. Stricker said the buses don't break down. There's a broke down bus. He lied to me. So, but thank you for what you do. And so tonight Chris is here. So let's give him a round of applause. Come on up.
Come on down.
Okay, this is my most favorite part of the recognition. That's the student recognitions. An opportunity to go to a PEP session, not the latest one, Mr. Marlowe, that you had. I don't know, what was that, about 3 or 4 weeks ago?
Excuse me, Dr. Stricker, if I could interrupt for just a minute. We need the owner of a blue Nissan Versa to please step out a minute. License plate number 10BC862. That is the owner of a blue Nissan Versa. You need to step out right away. Thank you.
I've not had that in 15 years. I've not had in the board meeting the announcement over the PA.
I've had it all now, okay. Anyway, I went to a PEP session. It's been about a month ago, and then there was another PEP session at the middle school. And it doesn't take long as the cheerleaders go out there, the excitement of the student body and so on. It doesn't take long to recognize the whole cheerleading squad and everything they do to keep the crowd going, to keep the student body up. And there's a young lady that really stuck out to me. She has the sweetest smile, and she has a disposition that you just fall in love with when you see it. And her interaction with the other cheerleaders is just priceless. And I noticed it during the PEP session. Did not share that with my wife. My wife, who went to the football game, the middle school football game, saw this young lady and was commenting on that at home, and used almost the same exact phrases and so on. And my wife and I do see eye to eye with our love for these children, especially those children that stand out. So Anaya Carter, she is just an awesome young lady, and we just appreciate her as a cheerleader and as a student in person. So if she could come up here, I'd appreciate it. I do have a certificate for her. And Anaya, is that Anaya? Yes. Right, so here we go.
She's like, oh, which camera? There you go.
My grandmother got that.
Oh, is she the one with the car?
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute.
Good job.
And I do want to thank her mother, because thank you for because hey, we do know it starts in the home, and thank you. She's just a sweetheart, and you share her with us. So thank you for what you do. So all right. You want me to go ahead?
Okay, so we'll go ahead now with the updates, your presentation, superintendent update first, and then we'll move on through the list.
We do have some new people here. I always take the opportunity, just 10 seconds, to anyone that hasn't been to Board of Education meeting. The items up there are items each month that I update the Board of Education on, and I will note that during accreditation processes, we're entering one, and in the past, it is good that the school system does cover certain areas each month and communicates those to the community. These are areas I found in my 15 years as superintendent that are the most common areas that would need addressed or need to provide updates on. Okay, next slide. Okay, student achievement. We will continue, and basically, Ms. Ashley, I'm still in your presentation from last month and reiterating that, but I just want people to know we will continue. We do have a focus on the elementary right now. Why? Because our students were falling behind at grade level at a younger age, and that's why there's laws that are in most states now, and Alabama's no different, and that is once they get behind at a certain level, third grade, it's very hard for them to catch up. And so we're gonna continue to focus on that. But I wanna make sure people know, and the Board of Education knows, we do understand, and we don't have to beat a dead horse on that our ACT scores are not what they should be. We do understand that there's things we can do at that level. We do get it. Test preparations and so on, and techniques that we can use in the classroom. So we will continue to focus on that as well. I just wanted to reiterate that. And I want to thank Lisa Adair for what you're doing with the test coordinating. In this day and age, in my opinion, and I'll say this on the record, I think there's so much testing, but maybe it's because I'm the old man that we just didn't have as much testing in the past. There was more instruction. There's just so much testing now, but nonetheless there is. There is. And so Lisa, thank you for what you do, because it's a whole, I should have brought it for the Board of Education. It is a whole 2-page worksheet of the testing and the meetings and the requirements. So thank you for what you do. Okay, next slide. Maintaining programs. Again, as everyone knows, so I don't have to reiterate that, extracurricular programs are very important to me, I think, in the development of the whole student. I do want to note the second bullet from a policy meeting I did not attend, but I did debrief with Mr. Island, that we do need to look at our programs and what we are paying those leaders of those programs, for example, like our music programs. You know, if let's say that, for example, a band has the same amount of participants with the same amount of time requirements as maybe a football coach, you know, how do those salaries align, or how do those extra payments align? And so I think it's something that needs to be explored. That's not gonna be a very quick fix, especially when you don't have money. You know, but nonetheless, I do wanna put that up there from the policy committee, that the board, I want the community to know that the Board of Education is aware of that, and it's something that needs to be looked at. Okay, next slide. School climate, the recognitions, again, I wanna thank the staff and students that come for those recognitions. We will continue that. And I want the board to know that had a lunch with the maintenance staff last week, and tomorrow I'll be meeting with the bus drivers and the custodians as a group as we continue to work on our school climate and bring those groups together and make sure those groups understand the importance that they have in the overall education of our students. Next slide. Evaluation process, we discussed that again in our administration meeting this morning. And, you know, I know we're not there yet, and most school systems aren't, but that is that all employees are evaluated. And so, you know, I'm pushing the administrators, but I do know our building principals have so much on your plate. I get it. So that's why I'm trying to be realistic and not push, you know, like it's the top priority. But I want the community to know that I am encouraging our administration to make sure, no matter, well, just like the recognition this evening. You know, I'm saying that a mechanic has a lot to do with student achievement, then I think evaluation is as important for a mechanic than maybe an annual evaluation than a teacher. It's important. Not that you're doing bad, but to praise you and to have record that, hey, good job, keep up the good work. You know, or here's something to work on, or here's where you excel. So I will continue to push for that. Facilities and technology, that's been the message, and you know, I'm not going to make up a new update just to make it, but I want our community to know, and I know we have some new people here this evening, that is a push right now. I'm very proud, though. I should have taken before and after pictures of 2 years ago and where we are now as far as cleanliness of restrooms, as far as the school grounds. I don't know if the community notices, but I'm very proud that we're getting there with trash picked up, the grounds are mowed, the restrooms are clean. And I know that may seem insignificant maybe to an ACT score, but again, I think it's very important that we have clean facilities. And actually was noted on our survey that we took with the community as one of the items that's important to our community. So I think community members see eye to eye on that more than we might think. Next slide. Safety and security, some of that is redundant, but actually that is regarding, and Mr. Alva, go ahead and say which school, I didn't say in the update up there. But I did, I was there when there was a lockdown drill at the high school, and as a compliment to the high school, I was told we had different law enforcement levels involved in that, which I thought that was a very good team put together from the law enforcement that helped us. During the debrief, they did say it was a great improvement from the past few years, and that is a quote as far as the lockdown. But there were still several areas on the checklist that we need to work on, and so I will do the best I can to get around to the buildings and be a part of those to see firsthand if there were an emergency. Heaven forbid, hopefully there's not going to be an emergency, but if there were, how would we react to that? How would our staff and students react to that emergency if there were lockdown? Okay, next slide. Again, that's a redundant slide, but again, for those that are new to this meeting, I will certainly continue to get out into the community. It takes a lot of energy, but it does pay off over time as you develop relationships. But I still am working on individual relationships with, I actually just said on the radio the other morning that even like the issue we talked about 5 o'clock was about cell phones in the schools. Anybody from our community that would like to have lunch with me or meet with me, that's where the relationships are really built. And so no matter what the topic, I'm encouraging our community for those meetings. And then Brandy could not be here this evening, however, she did include the financial update is in your board packet. Okay. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Ash, curriculum and instruction update.
Hi, everyone. You will be happy to hear that I only have 2 slides. But since Dr. Stricker did mention the Literacy Act, for those of you that don't know, I did not have a slide prepared for that, but once we put stuff out there, I just want to make sure that everybody understands. We do have the Alabama Literacy Act that was passed in June, and essentially what it states is that our current kindergartners and first graders, if they get to the 3rd grade and they cannot pass our state mandated test, then they will not go to the 4th grade. So if that doesn't stop your heart for a moment, then I don't know what will. So it just stands to say, when I say that the time has to be spent at the bottom with the foundation, not only is it just a good idea, now it is the law, because our students will not be able to move past that. So we are doing a lot of great work. The Alabama Reading Initiative is currently still trying to figure out all of the parts of the law. That's because you have state legislators that are creating laws, but they're not educators. So now the educators that should have been a part of the process in making the law are now trying to figure out what the lawyers and the legislators said. So it's not the best case scenario. However, we know about it, and we are prepared to address those concerns. And as we have more information in greater detail, then I will bring it before the board.
I'd like to clarify you on that.
Yes.
There's lawyers.
I'm sorry.
Lawyers in Montgomery who make a lot of laws. The lawyers out in the rest of Alabama can't figure out what they've done either.
Okay.
They're the finest educators.
Okay, yes, sir, I appreciate that. No, I appreciate that clarity, so we're all confused. You're all confused equally. Okay, so I do want to report, there's been a lot of discussions about textbooks. So first and foremost, I want to give a major shout out to Ms. Catherine Tanner, and I thank Ms. Lisa Adair for sharing her with me. God bless her. And Ms. Angela Thompson, again, thank you, Ms. Adair. She shares these people graciously to help with curriculum and textbook needs. And these people have worked, and like I said, let me say, Catherine Tanner, when we talk about textbooks, I'm like, what went out? And so we're meeting constantly. And Ms. Angela Thompson is usually our feet on the ground and going in and making sure that whatever was ordered is there. But so here is what I want to talk about: classroom sets versus individual student books. I know for a long time people were like, we don't have enough books, every student doesn't have any books, and we have worked hard to try to make sure that every student in the district has access to the materials that we have. But what I am finding is that some of our teachers don't want the responsibility of every student having their own individual book. And I'm not saying that's bad, but they're all piled up in the room, and then some students take them home, some students don't take them home, then students take them off the shelf. So like, they like the idea of having the 30 books that are all numbered, they can pass out, they can pick them up, but that doesn't mean we don't actually have enough books for those students to take home. Sometimes they're sitting in the library, sometimes they're sitting in the district office, so the books are available should parents want to check them out, and that's why I like speaking in a public forum like this, because if parents really have the desire, in most cases, they can actually check out a book from that school so that their student can have access. So if parents choose to help their children at home and want that book, then they do have access. So I just wanted to make us aware, because I've heard that even from this board, we don't have textbooks. We actually do have the textbooks, or at least the capacity to have those textbooks. Sometimes it's the preference of the teachers in the classroom as to whether or not we're passing out those individually. So that might be another discussion, and we talked about this in leadership today, so having those discussions. However, at this point in time, and I need to know from the community, and you just let me know, every child should at least have workbooks and access to workbooks, whether we're talking about Spanish or math or English. If there's a workbook that came along with it, we have purchased enough for every child to have their own and go home. So there should be some form of parent-home communication in those books. So I just want to let you know, at this point in time, we have backfilled orders, we have gone in, and at one point in time, a school said, no, we don't need any more books, we're good. And I said, are there enough in that building for every student? Even if they don't want to pass them out, are there enough? And if they say, nope, I said, well, order them anyway. We'll sit them in the central office, but I don't want to have discussions about we don't have books for students when we actually do have them. Now, whether or not we're sending them home is a different story, but we actually have them. All right? And that's basically that whole slide. Any questions about that? Because I know that's been a great concern, and we're wanting to work diligently to make sure that that's no longer a concern. Okay? All right, next slide. There is a new RTI process. We are trying to be proactive instead of reactive. And one of the major, so RTI for the general public is response to instruction. So it's what we do when students aren't responding positively to the instruction that's taking place in the classroom. Before, it's kind of been, okay, once the student is failing, we try to figure out what's going on. We shouldn't wait till somebody fails before we figure out what's going on. And that's not that it was anybody's rule. So it was just an unstated way that we did things. That's just what we did. So now we've got a new process. It's all students, kindergarten through the 12th grade. We are mandated by law to have an RTI process. And you can get a copy of that if none of you have ever seen it. I actually gave administrators a copy again today of that particular law to make sure that we all understand it's not just a good idea, it's the law, and it's been the law since 2011. So this is should not be new, but it's a new process for us here in Butler County. We use universal screeners, and that STAR and Global Scholar Scantron for high school. They now have an Express. So all of in addition to our K through 8, even our 9th through 12th graders should have some way for us to identify who are students that are on level, above level, and below the level of expectation for that grade level. The bottom 10%, regardless of whichever universal screener we're looking at, have been looked at, and committees should come together just to try to figure out why they're sitting in the bottom 10%. Can we identify other students based on different things that we're seeing in the school? Yes, but a minimum required expectations for Butler County schools according to our own RTI process is that we look at those bottom 10%. Also in that law for RTI is a dyslexia piece that I think was added in 2015. That within our RTI process, we take the bottom 5% of the 10% and we make sure that we double screen them to see if they are exhibiting dyslexic characteristics. We are not qualified to say that somebody is dyslexic because that gets into a whole medical field, but we are able to look at and say, are they exhibiting the characteristics of other people that have dyslexia? And in general, it manifests itself in spelling and an ability to hear phonological sounds and different things like that. And so that's what that second screener is about. And then on the last part, I just said teamwork makes the dream work. This process is really about professionals coming together when they see that a child is struggling, and us getting together and looking at the evidence in front of us and making some decisions that are in the best interest of that child that can change the trajectory of where that child is going. Because if we don't do it, who's going to? So, it's been a beautiful process. We had a few meetings the other day at W.O. Palmer. I won't talk to it, but the staff walked away with this great sense of this is something positive. Parents walked away with, oh, here's something I can do. We're all in this together. It's not the school against the parents. It's all of us working together to try to move forward. Our teachers want to do what's best for the children. We're trying to do what's best for every child. We need the parent support on board to say, okay, I see what you all are trying to do. I want to partner with you. And together, we really can make this thing what it needs to be. Any questions about that? That's it.
Thank you. Do we have a facilities update?
Well,
Technology tonight.
Okay.
As some of you may have heard, the state has decided to switch our student information system from Chalkable's Information Now platform to PowerSchool. We haven't talked a lot about that yet because honestly we didn't know a lot about that until last week. So as of last week, we are starting to kind of get some of the pieces of this puzzle so that we can intelligently talk about what's coming, when it's coming, and kind of our plan to tackle this huge hurdle, because this isn't a small thing. This isn't a, hey, over the weekend, we're gonna make this change and everybody's ready to go Monday kind of thing. So the state has outlined their timeline. They're gonna offer training to LEAs, to school districts. However, the state is limiting us to 2 people from the school district to attend these trainings. So literally 2 for 300 employees plus 3,000 students plus all their parents who may be using the product. So obviously 2 people isn't going to be enough. 2 people is a good start, but we're going to have to grow from there. So around March, late March, that'll be when the first training kicks off. The training is going to be focused into multiple sections. There are 6 different ones, I believe I counted today, starting in March, going all the way through September of next year. We will be going live with this product in August of next year. We will start school next year on this product. We, under the state's plan, will not touch this product until July. So you can see, yeah, I'm freaking out a little bit until we had a discussion today. So we're exploring some other options to kind of have access to the system on our own for 6 months ahead of time to kind of get in and start playing with what our student processes look like ahead of the training and during the training, so that when we go to 5 days of training and they're telling us that, hey, this is how this works, well, we can come back and actually log into a system with dummy data and go through that process and go, okay, yes, this does work like that, but what's our current process look like versus what process might have to change to in this new system? And that's just the user side of it, y'all. That's not even talking about all the product integrations that we have on the backside, all of our historical data that currently exists in INL, which is 10 years. The state's gonna move 5 of it. So we also get to tackle how are we gonna maintain access to the older 5 years worth of data. So as you can see, there's a lot to juggle. The next late spring and summer is going to be quite busy. So that leads into another thing that I want to share, which Ms. Adair and I have worked together. Thank you so much, because there's no way that a 2-person team, Ashley and I, can train everybody that needs to be trained, manage pulling in the 5 years of historical data that the state's not taking care of for us, and make all the changes that need to be made for all the other products that we integrate with, for that to still happen so that students and staff and classes are in those products come August. So we're exploring through federal programs, the option of bringing back a technology implementer, integrator, PD person that we've had in the schools before through local, which was cut for budgetary reasons, that's ending in 11 days. So that's something that we're looking to reinstate, so that those people can also be part of that training. So what we're thinking is gonna happen is, 2 of us will go, we'll come back, meet with that group plus a few other individuals, so that we have now a team of people who can represent our 6 schools and kind of be that local point of contact to kind of spread out this training so that it's not just gonna fall on 2 people. It's something that large falling on 2 people is a recipe for disaster. Any questions about anything so far? That's kind of the 50,000 feet overview. I'm happy to talk in more detail if you guys have more specific questions.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Item 6 is.
Madam Chairman.
Yes,
Mama,
go right
please.
ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chairman and fellow board members. I would like to raise my concern about the critical staffing shortage in the curriculum department. I believe we have allowed an impossible situation, one person being asked to mentor, coach, provide instructional support, train, evaluate, assess effectiveness, textbooks, RTI, etc., for both elementary and secondary. Yet we maintain high expectations for learner-centered improvements towards mastering standards across the entire system. So the staffing situation in the curriculum department is not at the level required to reach our desired educational outcomes. And I believe it needs to be addressed immediately. So board members, I sincerely hope you will stand with me in encouraging our superintendent to seek remedies for this critical staffing situation in the curriculum department.
Thank you, Ms. Hammond. Okay, we do have a report of fundraising drives and a request for use of school buses as an informational item, on the agenda, and it is just for our information. So we'll move on to our financial report.
Okay.
Yes.
Recommend approval of the financial report as presented, the financial statements July 2019 and the bank statements July 2019.
Okay, so we have a recommendation for approval of the July reports. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second? Any questions about those reports? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposes, nay. Thank you. Next item is our personnel report, and we do have, a revised personnel report, and before we get a recommendation for approval of our personnel report, I do want to just mention, as all of you, I'm sure, know, one of the things that's been added is the resignation of our superintendent. Dr. Stricker has accepted a position in Mississippi with the school board, and he will leave us effective January 1, 2020. And, his resignation is included in our personnel report, and I personally want to say that, I'm sorry to, see Dr. Stricker go, and just wanted to make mention of that, publicly. So,
Okay. So I recommend approval of the personnel report, revised personnel report as presented.
okay, is there a motion?
Motion.
Okay, if there are no questions, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, except for number 1, nay.
Okay, opposes, nay, we have one.
I would like to say this, since you spoke to that.
Go right ahead.
Over the last few days after Dr. Stricker announced that he was taking the job in Mississippi, I've seen our community act in 2 different ways. sitting back there, Miss Ash, for the same thing. And then I also look at Miss McNaughton, who's just doing a fabulous job. I'm sorry, Miss Benson. Don't be that way, teacher. I'm sorry, you know, long time. And Georgiana, moving Mr. Marlowe over to the middle school, and Miss Cook, you know, up and promoting her. And even though he's left us, Curtis Moore, Miss would come down and be at Georgiana for a few years, and he was just fabulous down there. I think Coach Evans would agree. He did a great job down there. And, we've accomplished a lot in the last two and a half years, y'all. We've moved up. We are making progress in that state report card. And I hope in whatever direction we decide to go in, that we're going to continue with that progress. There are great pieces in place that should allow us to do that. I mean, we put alternative school back in Butler County after Dr. Stricker got here. We watched GHS expulsions from his first year to his second year decrease by almost half, and disciplinary issues at GHS decreased by almost half. So we've accomplished a lot, and I think there's more that we can accomplish, and we're just gonna have to accomplish it with just us now. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sellers. Anyone else? Okay, so we've already taken a vote, and I will just say that, Mr. Nimmer, if voting nay would make a difference, I'd join you in doing the same, but I don't think it would make a difference. Okay, so our next, item is gonna be the approval of salary schedule revision.
I recommend approval of the salary schedule revision as presented, and then that did go to the board, presented of the board policy first.
Okay, so we have a recommendation for the salary schedule revision. Is there a motion?
Could you just state specifically, not just state the amounts, but for what areas? So that it's in the salary
Well, I
schedule
don't know
for,
other items, but if you want.
for
to
HVAC and,
Yes, it's
and-
for
and-
the pay rate of the HVAC,
and the, bus.
technician and bus sub-pay,
Right,
go from
okay.
50 to 60.
Public notice of the contract.
Okay, so.
One more.
Second.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, is nay. Thank you.
Mr. Biden, I sure
Let
hope
me-
you're able to get some bus drivers now. I know it's been tough.
Let me back up. We kind of got caught up in talking about Dr. Stricker. We do have some new employment, so I'd like to ask, the principals if you would introduce any new employees who may be here tonight. Are there any?
I have one. We have Miss Lily Bowden coming to us as custodian from the AmeriCorps group, and we're very proud to have her with us.
Is that all that's present tonight? All right, thank you. Didn't mean to pass over that, but we got caught up in the moment talking about Dr. Stricker. Okay, at this time, we will have our legal update. Mr. Hamilton?
Two matters aside from the litigation that's pending in federal courts is, we have been working on a due process request for a special ed student. We were able to reach a resolution, so there will be no due process hearing. It's a lot of time and money, so at little cost, I think. There was also a reprimand issued to a teacher for not doing his job, and I've corresponded a couple of times with AEA, but without much resolution. So as far as I'm concerned, the reprimand is going to stand, and